Step 1, wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
guys are doing awfully well today. We are the loudest, the absolute loudest channel on YouTube. And I hope you guys are doing well. I want to make sure that my mic is going well today. I don't know which mic. We're having some technical difficulties, so if I'm too low, too loud, too whatever, adjust your volume accordingly. Welcome to Saturday's show. I am Bullhorn Betty, and we cover true crime, and we've got quite the show for you today. Give me just a second. I got things going on behind the scenes that should not be going on behind the scenes to just lags my system down. We have three major stories we're going to be discussing today. As part of our show. And the first story is a missing teen no one knew was missing. I've never heard of Jacqueline Torres. And she's a 12-year-old girl that was just found in a drum on an abandoned lot. And I keep looking for some information about her, and it's like, I really don't see a whole lot out there. Like, how in the world is the world supposed to be looking for a missing 12-year-old that law enforcement knows is missing, but the rest of the world does not know is missing? It's just, it blows my mind. We've got the blast in Tennessee. 18 people are still missing. And of course, politically, we've got Trump. The government is shut down, and Trump and his team are now starting massive layoffs in an effort to keep certain areas of our government still running. It sounds like right now, for those people that are on WIC assistance, you will be able to keep your WIC assistance. It sounds like they are moving money, so moms and children are not going to go without. So please, folks, before you guys freak out and start doing crazy stuff, find out whether it affects you or not. Moms and children, it sounds like you guys are going to continue to get your supplemental payments and food distribution. So please do not worry. Your children as well as you are safe. If there's anybody from our show that is struggling during this time, if they can prove that these shutdowns are affecting them, we will, as a channel, step up to the plate and help ours out, okay? So if you're a channel member, channel subscriber here, and you are struggling through this shutdown, we are here. We are a community. We are family. We come together. We will help you, okay? We will help you. In my opinion, this shutdown is 100% necessary. I'm willing to do what it takes as an American citizen going through this to help any way I can to minimize the repercussions this has on people out there that rely on our government for their survival. This has got to be an uncomfortable situation for you, but please understand the situation America's in. We do not have $1.5 trillion to spend on luxury items that the Democrats want us to spend this on, and therefore the government is shut down. They won't open it until we are extorted out of $1.5 trillion. We don't have it. We're not going to spend it. I agree with this shutdown for these reasons, and therefore anybody in our family, in our personal circle here that is affected by these decisions, we as a family are going to step up to the plate and make sure you get through this. It's going to be uncomfortable for everybody, and what we do as a society is we try to take what we can do and make it as less uncomfortable for the next person. And that's the only way we can work here. We lead by example, and we are, it's strength through whatever the slogan is, peace through strength, right? Peace through strength. And right now we're being railroaded by the Democrat Party. I feel bad for the mom and pops of the Democrat Party. I can't imagine what you guys must be going through. I was very angry for a really long time and about what our state of affairs are. And now I'm just, I'm angry, but I'm hurt and I feel bad, because there's a lot of people, I've spoken to a lot of people on both sides of the aisle, as many of you guys know I would, and nobody's really happy. Okay. So, where is this all coming from? If nobody's really happy, where is it all coming from? So those are the three stories that we are going to be kind of diving into today and exploring a little more. We do have a couple of just I guess I removed those. We're going to be jumping right into the story of the 12-year-old. So let me go ahead and pull that up. Let's go ahead and get started. I hope everybody, actually, let me just go through here and say hi to some of the people that I can say hi to real quick. So you guys know, I see you out there. I do see you out there. We've got Nightbot in the house. That's basically Boulevard Betty. Oh, YouTuber is here. The real me too. Vicky, Rose, it's nice to see you. Melanie, good morning. Do not forget, guys, we do have a goal right now. Melanie, she always treats, thank you, Melanie, for being a major supporter of here. But I'd like to see some other people. Thank you, Melanie. Love you to pieces. Love you to pieces. TD Dean, good morning. We got Nancy up in the house. True Crime Justice. Dolly, our beautiful Southern Grammy Wolf. Big hugs and loves to you. It's been a little minute. I don't recall seeing your name in here for a little bit. So big hugs and loves. I know if you're not here, there's a reason you're not here. So we definitely are praying for you. West Virginia Holler Girl, it's nice to see you. Vicky, Jenny, Sasha, good morning. Who else do we have? Ruby, good morning to you, love. Kendra, good morning. Vicky, always watching. It's nice to see you. Sonia, Jenny, TD Dean, True Crime Justice, Sandy, good morning. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing very, very, very well. Hopefully I'm coming in pretty good as well. So we're starting off this morning with a 12-year-old. This came across, I do my research. As many of you know, I did a late live last night because I was doing a lot of research and there were so many stories. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to possibly be able to get through all of these stories tomorrow. And it was enough stories that interested me that I thought we needed to go ahead and do a live and go over. And those stories, let me just go over those with you. So if you guys would like to say, do the replay, if you didn't watch it yesterday, we actually went over an update with Cash Gernon. Cash Gernon is a case from 2021. This was a little boy taken from his crib and murdered, and left in the middle of the street by a deranged lunatic, and his name was Darian Brown. And Darian Brown was stated by the courts as being incompetent to stand trial, and so he went off to a mental institution, an insane asylum, if you will, to be stabilized, to go through the court proceedings. And it just seemed like it dragged on and on and on and on. And it just felt like, this poor boy, this little baby, was never going to get justice because, these courts have this bleeding heart for, mental illness, which mental illness is mental illness. But 4 years? You can't stabilize a man in 4 years? Something's wrong with that. But I digress. And it makes you wonder why in the world, if this man was so unstable that it took 4 years to stabilize him, what in the hell was he doing out on the roads to even injure this baby? But I digress. He finally was deemed competent to stand trial. They've done a plea deal after 4 years. He's spending the rest of his life behind bars where he deserves to be. With his mental illness, I think I don't know. This is a baby. I still would have wanted DP, but I don't even know if the state that he's in even has DP. We have to ask those questions now because it seems like there are just some states out there that want to see the criminals run free and injure. Why? I don't know. And injure the law-abiding citizens. Listen, criminals are never going to let law-abiding citizens live in peace. Okay? That's why we require them to be thrown in jail. Right? Especially the violent ones. And every time we turn around, there are certain states and certain communities that put the most violent criminals back out on our streets. But a lot of our problems, believe it or not, are a little closer to home. Right? A lot of our problems are a little closer to home. A lot of our problems are right in our home. A lot of the threats that can cause us peril come from inside our own locked doors. And it sounds like this next case is no different. This is the case of Jacqueline Torres. She was living with her mom. I don't know a whole lot about her history. And the reason why I don't know a lot about her history is because there's not a whole lot out there on the internet giving me information about her history. It sounds like her father didn't speak to her for several months. She was in the care of her mother. I keep wondering how this house where she was found in a barrel on the back side of it, stuffed into it, deceased. I keep wondering how that is connected with her family. What happened to this beautiful 12-year-old girl that wound her up in a barrel? And why in the world didn't America know about this precious baby's face? Why are we finding out about this young, beautiful girl as they're pulling her carcass out of a barrel? That's my question. Sad. Just sad state of affairs here, folks. Sad state of affairs. So the 12-year-old girl's human remains were found inside a container near an abandoned home. You guys hear that? An abandoned home. How, you guys know my belief. People that do these types of things act and work in areas and in environments that they're comfortable in, right? So how is this house connected to her mother, her family, or her? It's connected somehow. They've either known about it, lived next to it, used it for a squatting house, something. This house is something. Somebody from whoever did this knew about this house and knew that they could dump this barrel there. So, or container rather. They're calling it a container. I'm hearing it's a barrel. Family members identified the girl as 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres, who goes by the nickname Mimi. So Mimi is her nickname. The discovery was made near an abandoned home on Clark Street on Wednesday. Now, mind you, this is in Connecticut. New Britain, Connecticut. So when I'm talking about the streets, Clark Street, it's in New Britain, Connecticut. So the discovery was made on an abandoned house. How was the discovery made? You know, we never even knew this child was missing. Her remains were found in a container in the backyard. Victor Torres, Jacqueline's father, and Frances Melendez, the girl's stepmother, told WFSB that they learned of her death from police on Thursday. Torres said that he had not seen or spoken to his daughter since before her 12th birthday, which was January 29th. Folks, it is October 11th. I want this to resonate with you. How in the world was law enforcement able to hide a missing 12-year-old child from the entire world? From the entire world. That's how I feel that this has gone. It does make me angry. You know, there are a lot of red flags. Yeah, you guys know where I'm going with this. Like mom, I'm side-eyeing mom in her home environment where she was staying, okay? You know, why didn't we know about this child? Why wasn't there anybody out here screaming from the rooftop? Even the father, I feel bad. You know, this doesn't sound like the father knew his own daughter was missing, let alone deceased. How heartbreaking that must be. How heartbreaking. And that's going to be something that father lives with the rest of his life, knowing that he wasn't around or that he was a little lax. Nobody ever thinks that this is going to be their reality. Let's be honest with you. Nobody actually believes that their child's going to be murdered by a significant other or even an ex-wife, an ex-girlfriend, or anything like that. Like you laid down with them, you made a child with them. Unless there's a massive amount of abuse inside that home that you were very well aware of. You know, it seems like he would punish himself for the rest of his life by not keeping in contact. You know, and it's sad because he's a victim too, in my opinion. Unless he knew that abuse was going on and didn't act. Then there's that. But he basically says he hasn't talked to his child since before January, before her birthday. He said the 12-year-old was living with her mother who had custody. He believes she has been missing since January or potentially earlier. Wow. He said he hadn't, where's the school? He said he hadn't been able to get in touch with her for months. Police have been tight-lipped with information, a little too tight-lipped, for you to have a freaking child missing, no help from the public, and then find her body or carcass freaking 10 months later, 9 months later. Good gracious. They could have found her a lot. Anyway, I'm done. Okay. An autopsy is being conducted to learn the cause and manner of death. Neighbors said they were left wondering where the remains came from and how long they were there. It's very unsettling and very nerve-wracking to know it's happening so close, says Melissa Russell, a neighbor. While the house has been vacant for years, so somebody knew there. Neighbors told WSFV that the people were squatted in it. Who were those people that were squatting in it? How do we not know about this beautiful baby? I mean, I call her a baby. She's 12 years old, folks. She's 12 years old. How do we not know?
Your whole health is more.
How do we not know about this precious little baby? Guys, sorry, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to see what we can garner here in just a few seconds.
It's why we create.
First up here at noon, developing news in New Britain. A family has identified a set of human remains discovered this week as a 12-year-old girl. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I'm Caitlin Nuklo. We want to get right to that developing news. That young girl's remains were found in a container on Wednesday outside of an abandoned home on Clark Street. And that's where we find your reporter, Dylan Fearon, live. So, Dylan, what have you learned?
Well, Caitlin, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed that to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday.
So he never even got to tell his daughter happy birthday, it sounds like. This is very problematic for me, folks. This is very, very, very problematic. And again, how did we not know about this 12-year-old child missing? You know? Did I see Brown Chicken up in here? Hey, Brown Chicken, it's nice to see you. Good morning. Phil, Kathleen, Sonia, Denise, it's nice to see you. Karen, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Is anybody else in here I'm missing? Let me see what else we got here. This shit's out of control. It is. Parents, I really believe it's the drugs and substances. You know, Scotty Too Hottie, it's nice to see you, my friend. Good morning. Good morning. It's very, very, there's an echo. It's echoing. Who's echoing? The video's echoing? Oh, I knew I was having some type of, oh, it's echo. Oh, that's interesting. It shouldn't be echoing at all. It's showing off on everything. See, no, that's mute only. Hold on. Output. It shouldn't be muting. It might be coming through my, I don't know why it did that. It switched its thing. See if this is better or not. Hold on. We're going to have to test sorry guys. If it's echoing, you're going to have to bear with me.
Her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her.
Now it's echoing on my side. Huh. I wonder what I did. We were having some technical issues this morning. I bet you I'm probably going to have to mute output on this. Or mute output on our gift chat. Let's check this one out. Echo. Yeah, I'm hearing it's echoing in my ear too. Let me see if this fixes the problem.
But hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline...
I wonder why it is echoing. Why are we having an echo? It must be the gift chat. We're going to have to adjust these all next time. I know what it is because I was having audio issues after we already set this up. So check this out. Tell me if this is still working, if it's echoing.
They have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that. But investigators are...
Is it still echoing? Because I don't know why it would be echoing. It should not be echoing. It's still echoing. Okay, so let's monitor off this, monitor off that. We have everything literally off. You should not be able to hear. I'm going to play it. Let me know if you can hear it.
Around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery.
Is it echoing now or is it completely silent? Let me just go and check my... Let's go. Oh, it probably won't let me rewind. Yes, is it still echoing? We're at there is sound. Is it echoing? Let me play it again. Hold on. You guys hear me? Okay, I'm about to play the video now. Give it about 20 seconds because we have a little lax. I don't want you guys telling me you can hear me. I know you guys can hear me. It's the video. It's only the video I'm looking for. Is the video still echoing? Hold on.
Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains.
And you guys are saying it is still echoing. Let me listen to it. Good gracious. I wish this thing would let me see my own frickin'... And it won't let me back up. Okay, let me play this.
Found is growing, and of course neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life.
Okay, it's still echoing. Okay. Okay, I don't know what caused the echoing to start. I've got literally everything off, so I guess what I could do is I could just drop this down and come back up, but I've never done that on here before. And I don't know what's causing the echoing because literally everything is turned off. My monitors are turned off. Like, you literally shouldn't even be able to hear anything coming out with the stuff that I've got on here. So I'm going to put all this in monitor only mute and see if that changes it. But I no sound at all now. Oh, well, it was screaming in my ear. It was screaming. We might have to just do it with the echo.
Lord President,
And I know it's still echoing, and I don't know what's causing it to still echo. Good gracious. All right, I'm going to shut this whole thing down. And hopefully I can get it to come back up. So just bear with me for a few moments. That's the only thing I can do to reset the audio. The audio, everything's turned off. It should literally, you shouldn't be able to hear a damn thing. And I can hear it, you can hear it, everybody can hear it. So pray that we can come back to this show. I don't know if we can. Otherwise, the show's over and we'll have to pick back up later this afternoon when I get back from our daily thing. I've had technical issues all day. I don't know how to fix it. So bear with me, folks. I will bring this back up, but it's going to take a moment. All right, I think we are back. Okay, I may have to set up a couple things, but I think we are back. Let's see if this works. Okay, and let's just see if we got the chat working. Make sure the chat's properties are still good. It looks like the chat's properties are still good, so I should be able to change it around. There we go. Okay, so it looks like, okay, so hopefully this resolved. I saw what was wrong. It looked like my sound system went to Bluetooth, and I don't know what that does to it versus running through the USB, but apparently it did something. I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't, but hopefully this fixes the problem. I don't know if it does or not. I guess we will find out. Let me make sure I've got these things set to where it needs to be. Yeah, everything's off. So tell me if we're still echoing. I don't see why we would. We shouldn't be echoing.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. It's echoing in my ear. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry,
Okay, so it actually is working. What the hell? Did I just lose my page? Jeez, Louisa. This is really starting to irritate the nonsense out of me. I tell you what. Okay, so it's echoing for me, y'all. I will tell you that, and I don't know how to fix my echo, but it's echoing for me. Just not for you, which is fine with me. I can deal with the echo as long as it's not echoing.
Your whole health.
So we'll wait and let this work. Okay, so at least it's good for you. I don't understand why it's still echoing for me, but it's echoing in my ear. But I don't really care if it echoes in my ear as long as it's fixed for you. I don't know what the problem is. I'll probably have to reset the stupid phone, or reset the stupid computer. I don't know. It went all kinds of wonky on me today, but it is what it is. I'm over it. I'm over it. Okay, so let's get the volume back on this one, and let's get it back up to snuff. Here it is.
Remains discovered this week as a 12-year-old girl. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I'm Caitlin Nuclo. We want to get right to that developing news. That young girl's remains were found in a container on Wednesday outside of an abandoned home on Clark Street. And that's where we find your reporter, Dylan Fearon, live. So, Dylan, what have you learned?
Well, Caitlin, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed that to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that, but investigators are working around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery. Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains were found is growing. And
my question is, was she ever reported missing? Maybe that's the reason why we have no earthly idea about this child. It sounds like this might be like another potentially Harmony Montgomery, where nobody knew the child was gone. I mean, but this is the case where it sounds like maybe some neighbors called and reported foul odor, reported, something unsavory. I live in Waverly, Tennessee, about 10 miles away. I felt the shake from the explosion. Oh, we're about to get into that one, Annette. It's nice to see you, by the way. Good morning, Frank. I hope you're doing well. But this right here is insane. Are we finding out right now that this child was not reported missing? That's the only thing I can think of. I can't find the missing child report. That's the problem I'm having. And we're finding out she's been missing since January, since before January 29th. And here it is October 11th, and we're just finding out about it as they're pulling her remains out of a container. Where's the mom? And why isn't the mom behind bars right now? That's the next question I have.
Of course, neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life and learning. Who knows if he's going to be a lawyer or a president. You don't know what this child had in mind. Why take her life away like that? And then throw her away like you're garbage, you're not worth a dime. No, you don't do that to a human being.
So that looks like her father. You know, in all fairness, I don't really have a lot of judgment to say. He looks kind of thuggy a little bit. You know, I'm curious to see what her mom looks like. But I can see where she, you know, maybe the mom was a little crazy and he kind of just backed out of her life and just called her here and there. But in the reality of things, fathers aren't as involved in their children's lives from broken homes. They're just not. It's an unfortunate situation, and children, a lot of young girls go a long time without the father. If you're a father, be a dad, okay? Don't be a sperm donor, for Christ's sakes. These children didn't ask to come in this world. They need you. You know, I would have been raising hell if I couldn't even talk to my child for their birthday. I mean, think about it. He didn't get to talk to his child on her birthday. I would be raising hell. I would be going to court. I would be doing something. He did nothing. So I'm sorry, Father. I'm not trying to beat you up, but, you know, your child's being pulled out of a barrel. I mean, come on. The hell?
Caitlin, some more friends and family here right now playing music. Jacqueline's nickname was Mimi. You can see written on one of the wooden boards there, R.I.P. Mimi. Tio loves you. Her uncle loves her. Caitlin, right now we are waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as an autopsy on Jacqueline's remains are being conducted. We're also waiting for an update from the New Britain Police Department to see if an arrest or potentially multiple arrests in this case are made. We'll keep everybody updated on air and, of course, on the Channel 3 app. I'm your reporter live in New Britain today, Dylan Fear in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dylan.
All right, I want to make sure my...
Just to be on the safe side. Okay, I don't know why I'm getting the signal I'm getting, you know.
At any rate, you guys get the gist of this. Like, there hasn't been a whole lot of information. If you guys don't know about Matt Thibodeau, I love him. He's a great... oh my goodness, you can't even see it. I got it so big. Hold on here. Just realize this. There we go. Matt, if you guys haven't signed up for Matt, he has a YouTube channel. He has a TikTok channel. He has a X account. This is on X. He keeps up to date on these things. He's very good at what he does. And I always love riding through and seeing, why isn't this thing working like it should? What am I doing here? Hold on. Hitting the wrong thing. Oh, good gracious. There we go. There we go. So Matt is on X, and he says the remains of 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres, who goes by Mimi, were found in a container behind an abandoned home on Wednesday, October 9th, 2025. Mimi's dad believes she was dead for quite some time, as he has not been able to speak with her since January of 2025, shortly before her 12th birthday. Mimi's mom was taken into custody, so the mom is in custody, but at this time it seems no charges have been filed against her. So it sounds like they have detained the mother, according to Matt Thibodeau, and this is why I like Matt. So if you haven't signed up for Matt, please consider signing up for him on X, TikTok, as well as here, YouTube. He has a channel here on YouTube as well. And so as I was going through, you know, I'm just trying to find any information I can on this young girl. And as you guys can see, lots of people are going to social media, taking pictures. These are pictures we haven't seen of her. You know, it's just heartbreaking because I don't think many of us even knew this young girl was missing, let alone, you know, deceased. Just a beautiful, beautiful, oh, you guys can't see these things. Oh, gracious. I wish this would auto adjust. There she is. Just a beautiful girl, you know, that deserved her right to life. And it was snuffed away. And it sounds like her mom is responsible, or somebody her mom knew. I get very, very, very worried with these young girls, you know, with single moms, and moms are kind of out there and just bring any kind of guy home. Next thing you know, your child's being SA'd. Things are happening inside your home. Mom's angry at child's being abused, and eventually the child winds up in a container on a property of an abandoned house. This is a story we see all too often. Now, I'm not saying a man did this. It might just be the mother. The mother might just be a class act, right? And just completely diluted in the brain and not paying attention to her own child. We don't know what the situation is, but it appears that appears to be the mom right down here, and it appears that that's the mom being arrested. The mom looks like a fat slob, if that is the mom. Let's be honest. She looks like a fat slob. Don't know if that's the case, right? I probably shouldn't be so nasty to mom, but it looks like mom's the one taking the ride down to law enforcement. Mom was the one taking care of this child, and this child is in a freaking container on an abandoned property. There is that. But what upsets me the most about this entire case... What upsets me the most about this entire case is the fact that it doesn't appear this child was reported missing at all. I think this is the same video we had just watched that was driving me nuts over here. 12-year-old remains. I don't know. Is this the same one?
First up here at noon,
Yeah, it's the same one. So we're going to skip that one.
There's been a deadly explosion at a manufacturing.
All right, and now we are at our deadly explosion conversation. So for all those that are just joining in to the Bullhorn Betty channel, please don't forget to hit that like button. I really do appreciate all the love and the support for this channel. And what we're learning right now is there was a teen. Her name is Jacqueline. She goes by Mimi. Let me see if I can get a picture of her up here. There she is. Beautiful picture right there. Make sure it's on the channel. There we go. And she was missing, and nobody knew she was missing. I didn't know she was missing. I haven't heard her name. She hasn't come across my desk. I would have remembered this face, and I haven't seen her. And then as I'm doing my research, I'm finding out they're pulling a poor little 12-year-old girl out of a container from an abandoned building, abandoned house, from the backyard of an abandoned house. And I'm like, what? A 12-year-old is missing? How did I not know about a 12-year-old? I mean, sometimes there's news is going and moving a mile a minute, and we don't have time to take a deep dive into a case, but it doesn't mean we don't know about the case, okay? This is one where I didn't know about this case. Not that I didn't have time to, bring it to my show. I had no idea about this case, and so when I'm hearing about a 12-year-old being, coming out of a container, of all things, a container, clear violation of law. It's clear on its face that something happened to this child and something was being hidden because, it's not like a child's going, law enforcement is going to that child's house to pick that child up, to take that child to the hospital, or to investigate a death. This is a child in a container on an abandoned property. Clearly, there is some foul play here, okay? Something's afoot. And how did we not know that a 12-year-old child was missing? And now we know that this child most likely met with foul play and is a homicide victim of abuse or neglect or some other violence. And then we find out from the father. He hasn't heard from his daughter since the beginning of the year, which upsets me even more because it's like, well, hello, Dad. Why weren't you doing anything to find out what was going on with your daughter? And find out, 9 months later, she's in a container on an abandoned property. And let me guess, we're going to find out the Department of Children and Family Services were also involved in this case too. Let me just go ahead and get this fake crystal ball that I have, right? Let's go ahead and pull out the fake crystal ball that I have because let me guess, the Department of Children and Family Services were involved in this case as well. What you bet? What you bet? Kind of funny. Kind of funny, no? Interesting. So it sounds like mom's being detained. If mom's being detained and no charges have been filed, then they don't know what to charge her with right now. they're probably working diligently with law enforcement to find out what they can charge her for right now. I don't know if they're going to be, until the autopsy comes back and says that she was, beaten, there's broken bones, there's asphyxiation, there's petechia, there's something that shows that she was physically harmed and murdered. It's going to be a little more difficult for the charges for the mother, because really, in a grand scheme of things, no matter how you like to look at this, right now on its face, they really only have an abusive corpse. Okay, you guys understand that? The way I'm looking at this is right now, mom can be charged with abuse of a corpse, but not even with second-degree homicide at this moment. So that's kind of where we are in the grand scheme of things when it comes to Jacqueline, or Mimi. They called her Mimi. Her nickname was Mimi. It's very sad, just a very sad case. But if you know anything, you're out here in the New Britain, Connecticut area, you've seen this child, we never know where the leads come from. Even if things weren't, weird, maybe there was just something out of the ordinary. Around January, this young girl looks like something happened to her. She looks so well taken care of too in these photos. It makes it hard to believe, to see such a smiling face and to know that she was abused. And this is the face of abuse, folks. This is what I want to impress upon all of the people that are watching my show. Look at this beautiful, happy face. I want you to know this is the face of child abuse. This is the face of negligence. This is the face right here. And the reason why I want this to resonate with you is look how normal it looks. You need to be looking at behavior. Is somebody coming to school dirty almost daily? Is somebody coming to school and has excuses for bruises, throughout their body? Is somebody appear to be hungry or sad? Is your child coming home and telling you about her friend and you're kind of taken aback? That's your calling. That's your spidey senses telling you it's time to take action. Something's going on in this country where these beautiful children that has these beautiful smiling faces and look normal, right? She looks well taken care of in these photos, does she not? We would never think that her mom is abusing her or that she is literally in a container waiting to be found on an abandoned property deceased. It's a very jagged pill to swallow. That's why it's so important. We don't want to be in people's business. I don't want to be in my neighbor's business. But if I had an inkling that a child was being abused, you better believe not only would I be in their business, I'd be all up in their shit. And they would know I am. They would know it's me. I got nothing to hide, lady. Right? But what upsets me is even the public. We have no authority to do anything. We have no ability to help this child. The only thing we can do is report. We can't take this child, right? We can't take this child out of harm's way and put her into a good place. Why? Because it's called kidnapping. So we as a public can't do anything. So we rely on these programs and these entities that we fund, like called Department of Children and Family Services. And we expect them to do their job. And more times than not, every single one of the kids, I have not yet found. Now, listen, I could be wrong, but you could fact check me on this. Please do. Please fact check Bullhorn Betty. But so far on my show, on the history of my show, I have not found one child that has been deceased or missing that didn't previously have the Department of Children and Family Services involved. I haven't found one that we've covered on this show yet. If you guys found that I'm wrong or inaccurate, go back and look at all the cases we've covered on this show and tell me which ones have not had the Department of Children and Family Services involved prior to their disappearance and or demise. It's synonymous with almost every single case that we cover. Is the Department of Children, like we already know. That's why it's one of the questions we ask these families, even like Daniel Martell in Lily and Jack Sullivan's case, right? We asked them, Was the Department of Children and Family Services involved? We asked Chris and Katie Proudfoot, was the Department of Children and Family Services involved? We asked Don and Candace Wells, was the Department of Children and Family Services involved? Why? Because we already know they were. We already know they were. They can lie to us, but eventually we will find out and we will catch them in a lie, so they don't even bother lying to us. Yeah, the department was here. But it was for this. It was never our fault. It was our child's fault. It was the child. The child did this. The child did that. Right? The excuses of why the Department of Children and Family Services were involved. And believe me, we understand the job of the Department of Children and Family. We don't knock parents for having the Department of Children and Family Services involved in their life, because there are some families that do have, it's not a regular event. It's definitely not multiple times, but we've had families that, like, for example, we had Mama Bear of 10. She watched this show. She may watch in the bushes now, but she's been watching this show off and on now for about 4 or 5 years, right? And so when we used to do a lot of panel shows, which we are going to be getting back to panel shows, where we're going to get you guys up here and have conversations about these cases and roundtable discussions. We used to have roundtable discussions on this show about these cases. It really helped enlighten a lot of people. We had, people on the panel that were conspiracy theorists, some that just had their heads on right, some that had different qualifications, and we all talked about these cases and tried to piece them together. It was a fabulous design, in all honesty. Fabulous design. I liked it. But Mama Bear of 10, she does a lot of foster cares, bless her heart. And she does not just foster care children, but she does the disadvantaged ones, the ones that have medical or mental or behavioral disabilities, right? So I can't remember. I think one of her children may have been autistic. I don't remember which one it was. It's been a long time since I heard the story. But one of her children, one of the girls, got out and fell into the pool and almost drowned. And so they had to call law enforcement. They got the girl out. They made sure she was healthy. They went to the hospital. She was okay. But it triggered the Department of Children and Family Services coming into their home, making sure the home was safe, making sure that, it was an accident, all these things. She ended up having to put like a gate around the pool, I think is what they recommended, but she didn't have her children taken. She didn't have any type of problems. The kids were all in good health. It was just a terrible accident that happened where this child was able to manage to get into the pool. So, it wasn't anything intentional. It wasn't neglectful. It wasn't abuse. It wasn't anything, but yet this poor lady had the Department of Children and Family Services at her house. So we don't knock the idea that there's if there's a reasonable reason for them being there. We understand that as a public. I mean, the Department of Children and Family Services has a job to do. And when something happens to a child, they go check it out to make sure that the child's in a safe environment. And when they find out the child's in a safe environment, they close out the case. And typically those families never see the Department of Children and Family Services ever again in their life, right? There's a lot of people that never ever get to meet the Department of Children and Family Services, and there's people that meet the Department of Family Services, one time. But when you have a situation where the Department of Children and Family Services are making frequent events and frequent visits, well, we've got a problem. We've got a problem, and it shouldn't take a child disappearing or a child's death for them to act. It shouldn't be like that. The whole purpose of the Department of Children and Family Services is to be proactive, not reactive. And right now we have our systems working against us because they are not being proactive, which is what we're paying them to do. They're actually being reactive. They're waiting until the crime happens and then reacting to it. And it's becoming harder and harder because we're seeing these cases. We know what the problems are on these cases. We know that the problems are going to get worse before they get better, because right now a lot of this comes down to drugs. It comes down to substances. It comes down to parents being, having mental illness, having drug dependency, having alcohol dependency, gambling dependency, sex dependency. These dependencies And the people that are abused and fall to the wayside and the ones that are the casualty of these problems are typically the children. The children. And this mother never even reported her child missing. Never reported her child missing. It's just a travesty. Just a travesty. What a beautiful little girl. She deserved so much better, and she got crapped. She got crapped on by her father because her father knew he did not talk to her on her birthday. He knew that that was out of character unless he was just, one of the fathers that popped up, every birthday and Christmas to say, hey, I'm your dad, and I just wanted to say, I love you. Right? Sorry for being so facetious, but, I kind of get sick and tired of hearing about those kinds of fathers. Children need fathers in their lives. And women, you guys need to quit making babies with just any Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along. These are the casualties of those decisions right here. They're the casualty of the decisions. Unfortunate. Just completely unfortunate. All right, guys. Well, underway right now is the breaking news about this explosive manufacturing company known as Advanced Energetic Systems. I think it's AES. Something like that. I don't have the name up. Do I have the name up? Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, AES. I just have it as AES. So Tennessee Blast, 18 are still unaccounted for in the Tennessee AES Blast that rocked up to 15 miles around the facility when it exploded. Prayers are needed for this small town tragedy. And one of the things that is so heartbreaking about this particular case is that this is from a small community. Even the officers investigating this, some have known some of the victims since they were kids. That's how small this tight-knit community is. These are ones of their own that were there. And it sounds like what happened is it was a tragic accident where somebody made a mistake and it triggered an explosion. And because of the material inside of that building, it triggered additional tiny explosions that ended up leveling the entire building. They have something like 80 employees. This was around 7:45 in the morning. We have no idea how many employees showed up for work. They have not given us how many people that they have located and found as being safe or unharmed. We do not have those numbers. I don't know why they're not giving us those numbers, but they're not giving us those numbers. And we're hearing that there is possibly 18 or more. They haven't even determined whether the 19 people they originally thought were missing are truly the true number of the missing people. I checked this morning. And this morning I'm finding out that we still have no real true number of how many people were at that site, how many people have been accounted for, and how many people they truly believe are unaccounted for. They're not giving us that information. It's been very, very, very difficult. Because there's a lot of people out there that are scared. Don't tell the family when you're coming. Yeah, well, you know what? They don't. Sometimes they are, but it always seems, you know what, Frank? This, and you've heard me because you've been here long enough. You've heard me say this over and over again. It comes down to the fact that it always seems they make the wrong decision. They always pull the damn child out of the house that the child should not be removed from, that just needs a little bit of work and a little bit of guidance. But the one that the child does need to be pulled from, they seem like they're willing to work with those parents. And you know what it comes down to? It comes down to the parents being manipulative. Which ones have the narcissistic, manipulative tone to them that can literally make anybody believe anybody? Sell the proverbial ice to the Eskimo. Okay? And that's what our book smart social workers don't understand. This is where it comes down to, and you guys hear me, Frank, you included, have heard me say this over and over again. I don't want a book smart person. There are certain jobs that you cannot read and understand. The people training you might, but you're talking like for drug addiction. Somebody has like a BS or a master's degree or a PhD in drug addiction and never had a drug addiction in their life. Cut it out. You don't know shit. Sit down. Okay? I don't care what you learned in that book, but you are wrong. Okay? Because the people that wrote that book have never had a drug addiction. How are people that have never experienced what they're talking about going to tell you how to fix it? Raise your hand. Okay? And that goes for the Department of Children and Family Services. If you're not employing people that came out of the system, and you're not employing people to run the system that are come out of the system, you're doing it wrong. Because the only people that know the mistakes of the Department of Children and Family Services are the ones that lived the mistakes, and the mistakes that cost them a lot of problems. You're not getting that out of a book. You know what you're getting that out of? You're getting that out of experience. And nobody has the experience to clean up the Department of Children and Family Services like a foster child that came out of that system. So you foster children that want to make a difference and wonder where your life is going to go, what you can do with your life, that you feel your life is over. It is not. You have something to contribute. You know what you can contribute? You can contribute to the Department of Children and Family Services and make sure no child has to live through the bullshit you had to live through. That is your place. Walk your path. Help fix the path for the next person. If you've been in the system, change the system. If you know the system needs to be changed, get in there and change it. We're all about activism here. We're not all about talking and complaining about all the problems in the world. We really want to help. We want to leave this world a better place than when we arrived to this world. I feel like we arrived to this world in a decent place, in all fairness. My upbringing was wonderful. I mean, outside of my family problems, but my upbringing was wonderful. We had money. There was ways to make money. The kids went to school. Everybody got along. We didn't have all these nasty people doing nasty things to one another. People in the grocery store, whether they knew you or not, held doors for you, said hi. If something fell, would be picking it up, handing it to you. Here you go. If you dropped your wallet, you didn't have to worry about the person behind you picking the wallet up, taking all the money out of it, and throwing your wallet in the garbage can. They would actually run you down and try to give you your money, or turn that wallet into the customer service. People were human beings once upon a time when I was growing up. So you know what? Our world's gotten worse than when I arrived here. Absolutely worse than when I arrived here. We have gotten chaotic. We've gotten accustomed to being nasty to one another. We've gotten accustomed to being rude to one another. We've gotten accustomed to wanting to see harm to one another if we don't agree. There used to be civil discourse and civil disagreements, not gunshots. When you had a problem, now granted they say violence, they want to throw anybody in jail for fighting. I don't believe in that, right? Everybody needs to learn their own strength, and you're not going to learn your own strength until you challenge your own strength, okay? I think childhood, fights in the schoolyard is 100% normal and natural and should continue to happen, whether you like it or not. I've had a busted lip. I've given a busted lip. It is a growth and learning experience. I would never want to take it away, and I don't think anybody should go to jail for it either. Sorry, not sorry. These are real live things that make you who you are and challenge your strength and your upbringing. It also shows you what you do not want to be. But this society is not what it once was. This society, in my opinion, is much worse than when I got here. So it's our responsibility to try to stop the pain and start the healing, right? Stop the pain and start the healing. I agree. If your profession is no longer a passion, find something else. Exactly. I remember when somebody asked me about this true crime stuff. I remember I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but I was asked a question in an interview, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember my comment being, that was my response. When it stops affecting me, when I stop getting angry at it, when I can just talk about it like it's a pastime, when we can just analyze it and it not affect me on a personal level, that's when I'm done with true crime. That's when I'm truly, truly done with true crime, because I have been desensitized to a point where I can just talk about this without feeling. And that's bad. That's bad. These cases still affect me. These cases still make me angry. These cases still give me the passion to fight for the truth. And as long as I have that fight in me, I'm going to continue to do this. I've got plenty of other things I can talk about on these channels, right? We've got politics, my political channel. It's growing. It's not growing as fast as I would like, but once it grows, I mean, think about this channel. It took us a long time to grow Bullhorn Betty, right? I started out on Facebook. I started out on TikTok. I was never on YouTube. I started out with 2 people in my chat. You know, it's so funny because it's so humbling. It's a humbling experience to go back to the days that once were, because it's been years since we've had low numbers like we have on our political channel. But it's a very humbling experience because I have a channel that's making money that has 8,700 people that I could have converted and started making money immediately with my political satire and stuff like that, right? But I chose to take the channel that's demonetized, the one that has never been monetized, and build that channel into something. And I think it's me being stubborn in a part. It's me being stubborn, but it's me also wanting to work for it. It's called Right Move Broadcasting. Right Move Broadcasting. Hold on, let me pull it up here. It's actually kind of, you know, I mean, I'm getting some graphics for it. I haven't done an intro yet for it, and I need to. Oh, I think it's Right Move. There it is. Right Move Broadcasting. This is it. And so we've already grown. I mean, I think I started out with 400. It came with like 400 some odd people in the in there, and now we're up to 500, and that's after like a week or two. So it's slowly growing, but I'm going to continue to work it because it's something I want to do. It's not, you guys know me, even with my true crime stuff, I could care less whether we have 100 people in here or 1,200 people in here. I'm still going to run the show the way I'm going to run the show. That's the beauty of the Bullhorn Betty channel. We're here, rain or shine, right? And why? Because we are passionate about the cases that we are covering. We are very, very passionate about the cases that we are covering. Where was I? Why am I still here? Do I have stuff out of order on here? I feel like something.
But we begin this hour with a deadly blast in Tennessee. Multiple people there are dead or missing after an explosion at a military explosives facility located about an hour west of Nashville. CBS News correspondent.
This is just insanity. This stuff just starts triggering for no freaking reason.
Yeah, you got it. Sorry about the confusion.
Let's see, this one's now going. This is just weird. It's like all of a sudden my system just triggered and everything started going off. So we've already got these things done. I'm done with this. We're getting to the blast. And then we had, okay, so all of this is related to the blast. So now we've done full circle. Here we are back. Let's get moving on with this aspect. We have 3 topics of conversation. We just spent the better part of well over an hour on the 12-year-old because, quite frankly, I'm still shocked. We have a 12-year-old in a barrel, and nobody knew a 12-year-old was missing. It pisses me off. Okay, I won't lie. It's hard for me because I'm trying to tone some of the stuff down on this show just a little bit, but it really upsets me a lot. You know, just to think that a beautiful little girl. It was just failed by everybody. Where were the teachers? Where was the Department of Children and Family Services? Where was Dad? You know, we obviously know Mom was responsible. She's in handcuffs and sitting at the jail. No matter how you look at it, she has some type of hand in it, whether it was her that hurt her daughter or not. I think that she's going to get an abusive corpse, but I digress. We're back in Tennessee now. We had a deadly blast that leveled an entire corporation that dealt with explosive devices and other type of construction detonating material for the construction world, as well as military grade, explosives. So this was, from what I'm understanding, it sounds like it was a terrible tragedy that happened out in Tennessee. It sounded like one mistake triggered an entire, multiple mini explosions inside this facility. So because of the type of material that they had, when the first explosion happened, it must have detonated or ignited other explosive materials in that building, leveling the building, turning this area in Tennessee into what looks like a third world country war zone. It looks like something from the Gaza Strip, but it's not. It's sitting right there in Tennessee. Now, what I learned is that this is a business that does this for a living. This is an explosive manufacture company, if you will. And we don't know how many people were there at the time of this explosion. We don't know how many people, we're hearing right off the bat, 19 people. That's what we heard, 19 people right off the bat. But then when you heard the press conferences, there were several things that make me go, right? So the first thing is that they told us there was about 80 employees that are employed by this particular site. 80 employees. We're looking at that building. That building has been leveled. Okay, it's dust. There's nothing left. It's debris. It's a debris field. So where are the other, what would it be, 61 employees? Where are they accounted for? We've never heard that they were accounted for. We heard after hearing 19 people that there were 80 employees there. We're looking at a building completely leveled. We heard 3 people went to the hospital early on and they were in stable condition, 2 of which already had left the hospital, which are positive signs. So where are these other 19 individuals? It sounds like one individual must have been found. So we must have at least one deceased body that has been recovered, because the 19 went to 18. We now, it appears, have 18 victims missing in this rubble, or could be up to a half a mile away. This was a blast. The blast radius is a half a mile in diameter. People near that blast are probably in pieces and could be up to a half a mile away. This is an awful, when I say an awful event, it's an awful event. People are looking at their childhood friends in pieces. Okay? It's got to be horribly graphic out there, and what these first responders and investigators are going to have to witness, not including the medical examiners that are going to have to piece all of this together and find out who belongs with what. Just awful. It's awful. You guys can imagine.
Manufacturing plant in Tennessee. The urgent search tonight for the missing, many still unaccounted for. The blast erupting at the Accurate Energetic Systems facility about an hour outside Nashville. The company makes explosives for the military, aerospace, demolition, and then a wave of secondary explosions forcing emergency crews to keep their distance. The blast felt as far as 11 miles away. Listen to this. Homes in the community reporting the sound of the explosion scared families with no idea what was happening. Firefighters remain on the scene at this hour, searching for the missing. ABC's Mola Lengi leading us off from the scene in Tennessee.
Tonight, 50 miles southwest of Nashville, a search for at least 19 missing, multiple people dead after a massive blast at an explosives manufacturing facility.
Can I describe the building? There's nothing to describe. It's gone. It's, again, it's the most devastating scene that I've seen in my career.
5891 Highway 230 West had an explosion at Accurate Arms. Everybody is en route.
The explosion reported just before 8 a.m. at the Accurate Energetic Systems plant, where, according to the company's website, they specialize in the development, manufacture, handling, and storage of explosives for military, aerospace, and commercial demolition markets. Aerial video showing one of the 8 buildings on the 1,300-acre site, now a smoking crater. Emergency crews initially unable to get anywhere near the 1,300-acre facility.
That was new information. Let's listen to that again. So this might explain it. They said this is one of 8 buildings. So it sounds like there are multiple buildings on this, because this place is out in the middle of nowhere, and it's out in the middle of nowhere for good reason, right? I mean, it's dealing with explosives. You cannot have a business like this in the middle of Main Street, okay? Because of something exactly like this happening. So they've got this entire business out in the boonies somewhere, and it sounds like, because I kept looking at those trucks, and I'm like, how in the world have they got 80 people? You know, you see a lot of vehicles there, but that makes sense now. Listen to that. It sounds like there's multiple buildings on this site. It's not just this one. So this one must have been the employees in this site. They must believe that all the employees at work that day are gone. This is new information. I just picked that up as it was going by quickly. Let's listen to that again. Let me see if I can try to stop that right at the area where they say it.
Aerospace and commercial demolition markets. Aerial video showing one of the 8 buildings on the...
One of the 8 buildings. Listen to this.
Aerospace and commercial demolition markets. Aerial video showing one of the 8 buildings on the 1,300-acre site, now a smoking crater.
So one of 8 buildings. So that explains where the other employees are and why they're not really very concerned about their well-being, is because this was a standalone. It's building 6. So Red Rooster says this is building 6. Thank you, Red Road. Sorry, Red Road. I don't know why I called you Red Rooster. Thank you, Red Road. I apologize. Big hugs and kisses. Big hugs and kisses. So that this does explain why there may have been some people. Remember, I kept saying, I watched that building get leveled. Anybody that was in a radius of this building would have been liquefied, okay? I don't see any buildings around this building. So this is a 1,100-acre site. So they must have a lot of these trees. You see how what the aerial looks like. Look behind the helicopter there. I mean, it's pretty rural. It's got a lot of dense foliage there. So it looks like this, and you kind of saw this one all out by itself. So there must be some other areas that were further away from this, but they had to have known immediately something was not right. And I wonder what the damage is, you know, on this particular site, you know, for the other buildings, because of blast gyrates. I mean, you're talking about pipes, electrical, you know, stuff under the ground. You wonder, did it break anything? I mean, a blast like that has to be pretty significant and impactful. What else, what other damage that you can't see on its face did it cause to the other building or surrounding area and community, including the road? Like I see a road on the outside of that. Did it do any damage underneath the surface that will cause the road to give away? Like, I asked those types of questions in a situation like this, but this does explain it. This is one of 8 buildings. We now know this is one of 8 buildings. This is exactly why they're able to have some people that they know are alive, because there was obviously people in 7 other buildings that weren't physically affected by this blast. At least it appears that way. This leveled this entire building. So whoever was in this building, I believe, are all gone. I don't know. There's no survival rate when an entire building goes kaboom, unless you were luckily, you know, thrown into like a tree or something, and somehow by the grace of God, you know, were saved, you know. But this is, I don't see where that's going to be the case, but let's keep listening.
Emergency crews initially unable to get anywhere near the 1,300-acre facility because of multiple secondary explosions. This Ring camera 11 miles away, shaking from the explosion.
I thought our house had something blow up outside because the boom was so loud and the entire house shook.
Lauren Rourke took these pictures of debris that landed in her yard, about 3.5 miles away.
I know just about everyone is probably
3.5 miles away. That means that they said the blast radius, it was about 0.5 mile in diameter. I bet you it's bigger than that.
Affected right now because everybody knows somebody that works over there.
Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis emotional, telling reporters they're still trying to determine the number of fatalities.
So at this time, we have been able to confirm that we do have 19 souls
We went over that yesterday. We went over that, Red Road, we went over that yesterday too, because we were talking about that. It's hard because we just had that. You guys remember, I can't remember where it was. Was it in Las Vegas? No, it was LA. It was California. The SWAT team that handles all of the explosive devices, remember, they had an explosion, just boom, all of a sudden one day. And that was really weird, and everything was hush-hush with that. It didn't seem like it was an accident. It felt intentional, but nobody really talked about what the actual situation was. We've got all of these attacks going on all over the country. We know that in Utah, after Charlie Kirk's assassination, there were 2 people that were arrested for throwing or attaching a bomb-making device to an FBI vehicle. And so we have that one explosion. And we also even further talked about all of the planes, that were running, or the helicopters that were running into planes all over the world. Just, it's like all of these clunky things. It's like mass, and we even went back to the year ago to the 1,000-year floods in the middle of nowhere, like in Texas and Virginia and New Jersey. Water was just coming out everywhere. So we had water coming out everywhere. When water stopped coming out everywhere, we started having helicopters flying into planes, and it's just been crazy. And now we're hearing about this. And would they be able? Because this facility doesn't look like it's like majorly locked down. Could somebody have come on here and done this? We actually talked about that, Red Road, yesterday, because this would be prime. I mean, if you wanted to hide some type of terrorist attack, blowing up a bomb-making facility would do that, right? And it could potentially hinder, in part, our military as well. So the one thing that's giving me some type of confidence that this may not be the case is the people, the spokesperson for AES had come out and said this was a tragic accident. So with them coming out with the statement that they came out with, it made me feel that they knew already what had happened, what caused this to happen. Was it an unstable component that they were working with? I feel like with that statement, it just seemed too confident that this was a tragic accident, that it made me feel, for whatever reason, even though law enforcement's not telling us what happened, AES is not telling us what happened, it made me feel that they knew what happened. So I did go over the whole, terroristic, theory that it could be, because in all reality, this day and age and our makeup in our time in this country, this is a big concern. Okay, this is a big concern, especially now we've got Qatar, the Pentagon, approving Qatar to have an Air Force unit in Idaho, a place for them to set up. I get worried about that. Like, we have our military force staged throughout the world, but we're basically we work with the world to protect them. And so in order for us to be able to protect the world, we need to have, Air Force bases in different strategically placed throughout the world. So when we're called to assist, we can assist. But to have Qatar in Idaho, listen, I'm having problems with what's going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now. Okay, I'm having a hard time. Call me an Islamophobe, call me whatever you want to. I love Muslim people, but I also know that the Qatar, even if they knew somebody was going to do something bad, prevents them from being able to tell somebody. And therefore, if your rules prevent you from telling somebody when there's going to be a mass casualty event, then I'm sorry. Whether I like you or not, I have to worry about the safety of me and the people around me. And therefore, I don't like that. It has nothing to do against the Muslim people. It's their religion that I have a problem with. It's their religion and what that religion tells them they have to do that I have a problem with. And so now we're having Qatar in Idaho, and we have this militant looking makeup that's taking place in Dearborn, Michigan. Like, I'm sorry, I've got a problem with all of this, and you can call me whatever names you want to call me. I don't care. I got pretty thick skin. I've been called a lot of names throughout my history, and I'm perfectly fine being called whatever you think I am. But at the end of the day, I worry about my safety as well as the neighbors' safety, even those neighbors that I don't know and the neighbors that don't think like me, even the ones that I need to help save from themselves because they have too much of a heart bleeding on their sleeve to even protect their own. So at the end of the day, I don't like being like this. I don't like being concerned for anybody, but I also know that there is people that do not want people like me existing in this world. Where I want everybody to exist in this world, and I want them to exist peacefully, and I want them to be prosperous, and I want them to thrive. Not everybody thinks like me, and when people don't think like me, I don't want them around me, and I don't want them around people they can hurt that look like me and act like me and talk like me and walk like me, and worry for them. I've been on this world for 46 years. I shouldn't have made it past my 25th or 26th birthday, but here I am. God gave me a purpose. God put me on this world, and he kept me alive for God knows what reason. Only he really knows. But there's got to be a reason I'm still here, because I should have been dead a long time ago. As a matter of fact, I died in my living room, right? On my floor, on my dirty, nasty floor in my living room. I died many years ago. They had to give me chest compressions to revive me. Okay? I should not be here, but here I am. And I want to turn this world into a better place. That's what I want. I want the drugs gone, which is what almost killed me. I want the drugs out of this country. I want people to get healthy. I want people to get well. And the only way you're going to get healthy and well is to quit being enabled. Okay? Quit being enabled. So when I come out here and I try to tell you guys there's something going on in this country, I truly believe it. I truly believe it. Now, with this particular situation, I'm going to trust AES because I believe AES would try to put this on to a bad person, right? If they could, because this is a lot of liability. Think about it. They've got 19 families that they're liable for. God knows what kind of lawsuits and wrongful death actions are going to be against this company, okay? And they're not pushing the blame off to somebody else just yet, okay? They're going to end up putting it off to whatever employee, messed up, even though he lost his life and is a victim as well. It's most likely not going to be a business thing. It's going to be a human thing. That means somebody that worked for them made a terrible mistake and it cost 19 people their lives. But this is part of the process that goes along with working in a factory like this, okay? I don't work at an explosive manufacturing company because if somebody next door could make a mistake and I be gone, no more. Like Bullhorn Betty be no more, right? So glad he's home. Ruby, what is this? When my youngest was 17, just graduated high school, joined the Air Force, got stationed in Qatar. I was on my knees daily. I was beyond happy when he came home. Aw. Yeah, I'm very, you know what? I don't like this. I don't, who at the Pentagon approved this? And, no matter how you look at it, I don't give a rat's ass. The Pentagon still works for the people, okay? I don't care who you are. You still work for the people. We pay your paycheck. Who made this decision and why did they make it? Like, you need to come to the American people and have a press conference and explain to us why we have an Air Force for Qatar being built in Idaho, okay? I think that the American people deserve an answer because just like me, this scares the crap out of me. We've got Dearborn going on, and now Qatar is getting an Air Force base in Idaho. I've got big problems here, okay? I just want somebody to explain it to me. Maybe there's reasoning that if we heard what was going on and they said this is happening because of this, maybe this is all part of the peace deal, through the Middle East. God knows what it has to do with, but maybe if somebody just stepped up to the plate and said, hey, this is what this is all about, don't worry, and explain it to the American people, I'm sure it will calm us down a little bit. But I'm looking at all the people that I, look for, like on X and stuff like that, which is where I have a lot of my political talking communities and stuff like that I'm involved in. I can tell you the people that I highly respect and love are having a problem with this whole Qatar Air Force being built in Idaho. So we'll see where that goes, but let's get back to the Tennessee. We do have that up. I think I do have something up to talk about that today, later in the show.
We're looking for. So, excuse me. I ask you to keep in mind those families.
Well, David, tonight this investigation is ongoing. Right now, there are ATF and Homeland Security agents on scene collecting information, gathering evidence, trying to figure out exactly what happened here. And they're expected to be there for at least a few more days, David.
Yeah, we're thinking about all those families tonight. Mola Lengi leading us off. Mola, thank you.
Back to our top story now. Families miles away say they could.
But we begin this hour with a deadly blast in Tennessee. Multiple people there are dead or missing after an explosion at a military explosives facility located about an hour west of Nashville. CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdez has more on this from Hickman County.
Well, look, there are a lot of people right here now with a lot of questions. There are 19 people still missing here in Hickman County, Tennessee, following that early morning explosion. I've counted at least 24 people who are standing outside the office of Accurate Energetic Systems. This is where that explosion took place, waiting for news of their loved ones, of their family members.
That's just awful. Look at that. Look at that. Like It looks like some of the images we've been seeing out of the Gaza Strip, right? I mean, this has to be very, very unnerving for a lot of people out there. I don't even know where to begin to go over how horrible this is. And it's horrible no matter where it's at, but when everybody knows everybody, and you have 19 people from that community, everybody knows everybody. That whole entire community just lost 19 people. And some of those people, let's be honest, are coming back in pieces. I mean, look at this. I can't even imagine for the families. I don't want to imagine for the families. All we can do is just put our hands in prayer over these families, over this community. Because my understanding is this is a major hub for employment in this area. That this area doesn't have a whole lot of, big corporations. And a lot of people from this area make their living from this job here. And now their jobs, that I'm sure that this is probably going to be shut down for a little bit. They probably have to inspect other buildings that were near this because, like I said, it's a blast. It rocks your building. I mean, how are the pipes underneath the ground? How are the storage facilities? How's the electrical? Is there something that's going to be coming down the pike from this explosion later down the road that they need to look at? How is the structure beams in the other buildings around this one? Were the structure beams for the other buildings? Because you got to remember, we have load-bearing walls in every building that we have. Were any of those beams or structures affected or altered because of this? This is a big, big situation that they are going to have to look at, not just for this. I mean, this building's wiped off the face of the earth. This building's gone. And everybody in that building is gone. It's been 24 hours. They found one person. We went from 19 people to 18 people, and we don't know if they found one person. They haven't told us why the number went from 18 to 19. Maybe it's in one of the, one of the reports that I've got pulled up.
We know that this is a manufacturing company that does supply certain explosives to the military as well as the Department of Defense. Earlier this morning, the sheriff here in Hickman County, that's just about an hour southwest of Nashville, told us that one of their buildings went up in flames and it's no longer there right now. His words earlier, this is one of the most devastating scenes that I've ever seen in my 36-year career. Now, we're
Wow, look at this. I want you guys to see that. Hold on, let's go back. That is all that's left. That's all and that you can see was a storage container. That's under the building. So they had storage under their because you can see this is the driveway, you know, and this is kind of flat, it's level right here. So the building was sitting on top of this. So this is showing you like basically the basement of the building. Everything on top of this basement is gone. It's obliterated. There's nothing there. Anybody inside of this building is gone. Look at the building. Look at all the equipment in the building. Even the equipment in the building is gone. Everything is gone. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. They need to find out how many people were at this. They need to give us real numbers. How many people were in this building? We know 3 people were injured that went to the hospital and walked off. Where did we go from 19 to 18? Did they find a body or was the person alive?
There right now. His words earlier, this is one of the most devastating scenes that I've ever seen in my 36-year career. Now, we are still learning a bit more about this company, what they do, what they manufacture. 2 sources over in D.C. From Homeland Security officials tell us that early indications suggest this was not an act of terrorism, and the plant is in fact responsible for supplying multiple DODs.
Okay, so they've eliminated the possibility of this being an act of terrorism, so that's good. I figured that, you know, when I saw AES come out with a statement speaking about how this is just a tragic accident, I realized one of their employees must have made a terrible mistake, and that terrible mistake must have cost them a lot of obviously a building and a lot of lives. Those people that were working on this stuff probably is not even, I don't know. The people that were working on these materials probably knew what they were up against, but I still would like to know what triggered, you know, and not only that, but there's no, I wonder if they had cameras in here, because there was somebody had said, let me just go back a little bit. So last night when I was doing the story and we were talking about this, I think we did it at like 9 o'clock last night. Somebody had brought up whether this could be a terrorist type of situation, much like Red Road did. And we kind of walked through the process, and I kind of said, you know, it seems like AES is taking responsibility. They know that there was a terrible accident that happened inside their building that triggered this, as opposed to it being terroristic, because the way the statement, it didn't say we're trying to work to get to the bottom of what happened and we will advise you. This is a tragic accident. Those were the words that they used. And I'm like, okay, well, they must know what had happened and what transpired and what leveled this house, this building. But this lack of, they know it's not a terroristic threat. They know it's not terrorism, but they can't give us how many people were inside this building at the time it exploded. Why do we have 19 yesterday and 18 today? Was one accounted for? Was one found healthy? Was one found deceased? How did we move from 19 to 18? I'd like to get some more information on that. Maybe it'll be coming up. I don't know.
Systems as well as several explosives here. We do know some history about this facility. One is an OSHA violation that's looking back at 2019. They were fined more than $7,000 on 3 separate violations, and there was a similar explosion somewhere on this campus back in 2014. It may not be the exact building that this took place at today, but
It was not the same building, and it was from an ammunition company. It was from Rio Ammunition. It wasn't from AES that exploded. It was an ammunition company that exploded in 2014, and one employee lost their life. We discussed that yesterday.
Of course, these are all things that are likely fueling many of the questions as these loved ones sit around this parking lot and wait for any news of their family, their friends, this small community here. A lot of people telling us they were able to hear that explosion several miles away. We're still trying to get some better images of what that building looks like right now. But the sheriff earlier telling us there really is nothing left to describe.
And that's it. There is nothing left to describe. It was obliterated. It was absolutely obliterated. Let me see. This was kind of the scene. Let me show you guys some of the scene. They're going to be doing a press conference here, but while they're doing it, we can start seeing some of the stuff that was going on out front there yesterday. I'll still see if I can get some. There's some helicopters flying into the area. Cops getting ready to come to the podium and say, here's what we got. All right.
Families that we've still got to let know what's going on. We've got some families that's we've got to get in contact with, and we're going to definitely try to be mindful of that. We're going to say a few things. I don't know that we're going to take any questions. I don't feel like we need to at this point. For those of you that's worked with me before, I always try to get you some kind of footage, some, I guess for lack of better words, B footage. I could probably do that in this situation, but it's going to have to be from a distance. This scene is a very violent scene. Okay, so if I do that, and I'm going to have to we're going to get with Wendell, Mr. Stinson from the.
You guys can't even hear anything I'm saying. Good gracious. All right, sorry about that. We'll just get back on. I realized I'm muted. All right, here we go.
Accurate, and we'll discuss that. So what I'd like to do now is talk to you about this, and then I'll take about an hour and try to get most of all the families, if y'all will be patient with me, talk to the families, get them notified, and then we'll come back and organize from here, and we'll try to escort you in and at least try to get you some footage. Okay? You got a camera blocked right there with that young lady. I don't know. I just didn't want to.
So basically what he's saying this is what you guys missed when I was talking and I realized I was muted. I forgot I mute myself every now and again. Is he's talking to, this is kind of what happens. This is not really the press conference just yet. He's talking to the media before the press conference and basically giving them some instruction. So when you're out there on the field and you're there in person, you're trying to get, what's going on. You want to know what's going on. You want to get the footage that you need. Everybody's there trying to do a job, okay? Law enforcement has a job to do. The press has a job to do. Law enforcement understands the job of the press. Press understands the job of law enforcement. So it really is, when you're out there on the scene, you are working together with law enforcement. I've done it many times, even in the Alec Murdaugh case when he was being perped walked. Law enforcement would get us ready and line us up. So everything, and they'd say, look, we'll let you know as long as you guys don't, push in. We won't block you guys. We'll let you all get your footage that you need to get. Just don't do this. And we're like, okay, we won't do that. So it is working with law enforcement when we're out there, as media and as press. So what he's doing here is he's explaining to the people, we know that you want B-roll of this footage. We're going to give you B-roll of this scene, but it has to be taken from afar. We can't give you up close B-roll of this because it's a very violent scene. And so he's talking to them about footage right now. So this is just preliminary communications. This isn't really the press conference. He's just advising media what the do's and the don'ts out there in the field, and understands his need because he's keeping these people back. And they want footage, and he wants his guys to be able to investigate. So now he's saying, okay, look, we'll get you the B footage. We'll get you the B-roll. Just give us a little bit. We'll get you some of the B-roll. Just be patient with us. So that's kind of where we are in this, if you're wondering what is actually going on. So I think we're about to get into the conversation here. Let's go ahead and keep moving.
You blocked.
Oh, she's good. She's good.
Yeah. All right.
Here we go.
Yes, let's go on the record. Y'all ready? All right.
Now.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So now the press conference starts. So you see that? That's kind of how, this was a live feed, so that's good. I'm glad you guys got to see the live feed, but this is what goes on before the press conference actually happens. You test your sound, you do a bunch of stuff. It takes, sometimes 30, 40, an hour before people actually start talking for the press conference. In this particular scenario, we're already 14 minutes in on a 22-minute press conference, and the press conference hasn't even started, just to give you a little insight.
Yes, sir. About 7:45 this morning, we had a very devastating blast at Accurate Arms. Very devastating blast. It encompassed one whole building that was on the facilities. We do have several people at this time that's unaccounted for. We are trying to be mindful of families and that situation. We do have some folks, we can confirm that we do have some that are deceased, but we're going to go back and, like I say, talk to these families, notify these families, and let these families know what's going on. We do have the scene as secure as possible at this time. You may hear some smaller explosions around the scene, but they are things that we have taken into consideration. We know that it's secure. The scene is secure as far as no more mass explosions or larger explosions. We do have the ATF on scene with us. We have the State Fire, Bomb, and Arson with us, TBI and Homeland Security as well. We're working this as a joint operation between Humphreys County and Hickman County.
Okay.
As you can see behind me is Sheriff Kraft. We also have our Odell Pointer, which is our EMA director. And forgive me, sir, I didn't remember your name with my Hickman County EMA director.
Good morning.
We've got a lot of moving parts. We got a very big investigation. This is not going to be something that we're going to be like a car wreck or something like that we're just going to clean up the debris and leave. We're going to probably be here for a few days. Again, we're trying to take as much time as was needed. Right now, we're prioritizing people that are involved, their families, and trying to be very compassionate toward them.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what this is looking like. I mean, you've got a situation here where these families are devastated. They want to know where their loved one is, and again, like I said earlier, that some of these loved ones aren't coming home. I mean, especially ones close to the blast site. This blast leveled a building, okay? I just want to put that in perspective. I don't want to keep reiterating this, but these families are devastated beyond what we can imagine. I pray to God each and every person has a piece of their family to bury or to lay to rest. But there may be a situation where somebody might not have, they were blown up, folks. This was a blast. Think of what a blast does.
Am I leaving out anything, Sheriff?
No, sir. That's kind of where we're at right now. We're, as the sheriff said, we are at the beginning stages of all of this. So we're getting information. We're getting information, just minute by minute, and we're going to continue to build on that and do what we need to do. So just with that, like I said, just keep the families and everyone in your prayers as we go through this the next few days.
Just to clarify, Sheriff, if you don't mind, could you characterize when you say individuals, the number of people involved, either injured or deceased? Is this above a dozen, below a dozen? Do you have any type of understanding?
I don't want to put that kind of information out there right now because we are vetting that. We've had such a massive response that now we're trying to slow down, identify things. And for those of you that was around me during the flood, we had some mistakes during the flood of some things that was put out there as names and numbers and that kind of thing. And I don't want that today. We're trying to be.
So they're not wanting to, it sounds like they're not wanting to put people's names out there. They're not wanting, we need to find out, they have a horrible job to do. Like, they've got to notify families. They can't release information to us until the families have been notified. That's standard operating procedures. We've got a lot of stuff going on here, folks. Okay. It's a huge blast. A lot of people were affected by this. There's a massive amount of loss of life here. And they're diligently trying to deal with this. Most of these officers know some of these people or was raised with some of these people that were out there that lost their life. And this was an explosion, okay? An explosion that rocked this community, that was felt as far as 15 miles away. And they're trying to make heads or tails of who was at that facility. I'm sure that they have a lot more information than they are giving us. I'm sure they know who was clocked in. I'm sure they know who was in that building. I'm sure they know who has not been found. And I'm sure they're trying to contain as much of that as possible because, one, they have an investigation they have to build. No matter how you look at this, somebody's going to be fined out the ass, okay? AES is going to have some answers. They're not going. I don't think they're going to go under as a business, but they're going to have this is a huge investigation. There's going to be huge liability here, and they're going to have to figure out what happened to make sure it never happens again. And that is what they're trying to. Now, granted, there's also 18 people still missing that they need to locate, but they have to do it diligently. Those people are going to be deceased tomorrow as they are today, and the families are probably wanting them to come home right now, and law enforcement, it's like, whoa, we've got to do this diligently. And that's probably where the kickback is from family, because the family wants them to go in here and just find their loved ones and bring them out. But this recovery mission is much different than any of us have ever seen in our lifetime, because we don't deal with explosions like this, that appear to be accidental in nature. So we need to find out what happened. And unfortunately, they just can't rush in there and start dismantling everything to get the victims out. There are no victims. They're all deceased, I believe. So that's why the urgency isn't there, even though the family says, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I've heard that the families have been very upset and pushing law enforcement for more information, which, we could all understand. We expect that from families.
Be very methodical in what we're doing and making sure that we take the time to recognize and find out each and every one of these individuals and their family. And I'm putting these families and anybody that's involved first and foremost right now. As I say, we got the scene secure. I want to also talk about Accurate Arms. Accurate has opened their arms to us. They're cooperating with us in any way and every way possible. They're wanting to figure out this just as much as we are. So
Everybody wants to know what happened. So it sounds like everybody's starting to work together. 18 unaccounted for, casualties reported after blast at Tennessee plant. This is, again, you guys can see the blast or hear the blast coming from quite a bit away. Here, it just wait. I don't know if you guys can see this. You can still hear it going. Let me just start that over again for you. You can literally hear it going. That was 11 miles away from my understanding. I believe that what you just heard was being taken. Let me switch these back. Was being taken from 11 miles away from the facility. That was loud from 11 miles away from the facility. Like really, really, really loud. And here's some more. That's just, I can't express into words how this feels. I mean, that is the area. It was completely leveled. Aw, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. E. Crimecast. Prayers to you and your family as well. Sending prayers to all these families, the missing and people involved. Amen to that. Amen to that. I just can't imagine, you know? And people don't understand, like, this is an explosive, but, you know, we've seen some situations like this from oxygen tanks. You know, there's a lot of explosive and combustible materials that we deal with every day that we have to be very, very, very careful, you know, of. And this is one of them. This right here was in my my thumbnail. That's the building, and that's where we're at now. You can see that this is, you know, we have a leveled building here, completely, utterly leveled. It's just, there's no words to quite comprehend what we're looking at. Look at that. Aw, thank you, guys. Aw. Everybody praying for Middle E. Aw, big hugs. I hope he's doing well. I hope you give him a bunch of hugs and kisses from all of us crazy YouTubers out here in you know, the true crime genre. We love you guys so much. We really do. We really do. That's devastating, guys. Look at this. This is devastating. Like like it was so bad, the concrete is gone. The concrete is gone. Everything. Everything. Just, it's gone. Oh, thank you, Love Bug. I appreciate that. Oh, let me put that up. So let me put my little heart back there. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, guys. It is insane. It's sad. It's just sad. I think that's the best word to describe it. It's all just incredibly sad. Lives were lost. This community will never be the same. All communities are resilient. I truly believe communities are resilient. They all come together for the better, you know, the good. It's in times like this that we learn the humanity of the folks, you know, involved. They do prayer vigils. They come out, pray for the families. This what gives the people solace and, you know, just, they want to show their respect and their honor to the people that lost their lives. And this community all came together to do that in a vigil. So I still don't know why we went from 19 to 18. I'm hoping that they found one alive, you know, and not deceased. But I've been going through here just trying to read, and I just can't make heads or tails of how we got to 18 people from 19 people. I wish they would just tell us, but they haven't yet. So all I can do is just keep watching, monitoring, and listening. If anybody knows, please don't forget to send me bullhornbetty@gmail.com.
A devastating scene, meanwhile, in Tennessee. Several people dead and even more missing from an explosion at an explosives plant. This is about 60 miles from Nashville. Madison Scarpino is following this for us and joins us with an update now. Hi, Madison.
This explosion from miles away. Now, officials on the ground say they're still notifying the families of the people involved in this explosion. But again, we know multiple people are dead and several more still missing. Take a look at what investigators are dealing with right now. This is what is left of the explosives manufacturing building, now totally destroyed. Everything is burned to the ground, flames, smoke, debris everywhere. The building and whatever was inside is now rubble. Now, local officials say this all happened around 7:45 this morning at Accurate Energetic Systems in McEwen, Tennessee. According to the company's website, it develops, manufactures, and stores high-quality energetics and explosives, and their products are used for military purposes, but also things like demolitions, avalanche control, and aerospace. So the destroyed building was likely filled with explosives. The ATF, TBI, Homeland Security, and several other agencies are currently on the scene trying to figure out how and why this happened. Local officials say it will be a complicated, methodical investigation.
This is not going to be something that
we've already seen,
like a car wreck or something like that, that we're just going to.
All right, and we've already seen the statement from the sheriff. We already watched those. At the end of the day, it sounds like this building was filled with explosives, and something happened. An accident happened that triggered multiple explosions inside this particular building, causing the entire building to be leveled. And that's where we are right now. We are at a point where we don't really know what triggered the blast, but the blast was triggered. It was heard miles and miles away. The debris field is huge in this. We saw a woman 3 miles away having debris wind up in her yard. This is a huge, huge, huge facility, a huge blast radius. And it appears that 19 people may have lost their lives. They are currently looking for 18 people as of today. We would love nothing more than to help them, find those people. If you guys have any information, I mean, there might be somebody. I mean, look into the clouds. You never know. Somebody might be stuck in a tree somewhere. We don't know. This blast was huge, and 19 people were missing. We're down to 18 people being missing. Something is going on. We may want to consider what happened. Let me go through these just real quick, just in case you guys don't already know. Russ Vogt, I guess is his name right here. He is the Office of Budget and Management. It's what happens when our government shuts down. We need to keep the government going. So this guy here decides what stays and what goes. He's the guy that cuts the fat. And now we're having massive layoffs underway right now as we enter the 10th day of the shutdown. I believe it's the 10th day of the shutdown, give or take. I haven't been paying attention to it. Betty Emma says there's a live press conference right now. Live press conference. Send me the link. Nobody ever sends me the link. Let's see what we got. Here we go. I see it. I see it.
EF is also here. TBI. About any, I can't even think of all the departments here.
I'm scared to name them all.
I don't know why it's coming in so blurry.
All the help that's come into.
Let me see if I can find something less blurry.
That we're dealing with. It's changing minute by minute. Like I said, we found out this morning some changes in the safety protocol.
Can I describe the building? There's nothing to describe.
Okay, that's not live.
Slowing things down even more.
Our live feed's coming in very blurry. Let me keep looking.
And that's exactly one of the questions that we had, or no one coming into this conference. You see the ambulances here, you see the helicopter here, and that's here for the protection of these guys. That's here for their safety. I mean, it's when we have the situation and we feel that it's that volatile, we want to take care of that and actually get in front of anything. And matter of fact, it might not be a bad idea for a guy from ATF if
Yeah.
Morning, Guy McCormick. I'm a supervisor special agent with ATF here in Nashville. Need me to come over a little more? Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's blurry, guys. There's nothing I can do.
Sheriffs and all the support they've given us. What we're doing out here today is we have a number of our certified explosive specialists, our bomb techs, with support from not only the troopers who have been fantastic, but a number of other law enforcement agencies, and like the Sheriff said, too many to name, and I'd be doing them a disservice if I try to name them all, up there helping us right now. In a situation like this, what we find is that when these explosives are subject to the event that took place, which is heat, the explosion, being thrown, pressure,
it's blurry, guys.
They can become different than how we know them to act. So right now, all of our bomb techs, our explosive specialists, are up there very thoroughly, methodically trying to make safe the area so that when our national response team comes in this afternoon, that area can be as safe as possible for every law enforcement up there, so we can go ahead and make sure we do that search and recovery efforts in the safest manner as possible, and that's what ATF and our partners are doing right now.
So they're going in to search for the people now.
It's also on scene. TBI is on scene with their rapid DNA.
So they're doing rapid DNA to identify the people.
DNA. And this situation is going to be, again, very hard because of the circumstances, because of the devastation. Can we get an idea of some DNA? Absolutely. Here again, we want to make sure that we're taking the time to confirm. Anytime we do anything like that, we always want to make the confirmation for our families, and for everybody that's involved in this concern. Patience. We're asking for patience. The community's outpour of support, unimaginable. We have people, Sheriff and I have had people and other sheriffs from across the state to reach out to us. We're very appreciative of that.
So very emotional sheriff out there. This is a blurry video feed. Don't know what's going on. Bad bandwidth.
We're making the, now keep in mind there were, and I don't want to have confusion here, there were some folks that were on the scene that left. We talked about that, that were involved. Those are not including that. At this time, again, and I want to reiterate the comment that I made, I can tell you that more than 300 people have been through almost every square inch of this facility, and at this time we've recovered no survivors.
They've covered no survivors.
Ma'am, I never want to give up hope. Hope's always in my heart, but I don't want to give false hope either.
No survivors.
Well, again, we are doing the DNA, but we're going to have to slow walk that because of the scene, the way that the scene is, and as devastating as it is for any type of true confirmation.
I don't mean to be graphic, but were any bodies found?
He's having a hard time with this one.
At some point in time, we've got to rip off the Band-Aid. Can I tell you, and I alluded to it yesterday, it's not like working a accident. It's not like working a tornado. We're dealing with explosions. And I would say at this time we're dealing with remains.
Sheriff, are you still in the search? And
what did he say? I didn't miss that.
We're moving to recovery, sir.
Okay, so they're in a recovery scene. They don't expect any survivors.
As of currently, we're in the process of the identification of the remains. I can tell you by other means that we can tell you who was in the building at the time of the explosion. I think the expectation of anyone that was inside that building and anybody that we can probably make the assumption, and I'm not even going to use the word assumption, I think that we can utilize, well, I have to use that word, forgive me, we can assume that they are deceased at this time.
Everybody in the building's deceased.
More volatile. What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, there's we're dealing with the type of facility that we're talking about, and I'll come back to you in just a moment. The type of facility, the ordinance, the type of facility that this is, the things that they deal with, how they make it. It's more explosive devices, and when we have explosive devices of that we don't know their gas makeup that's changed, the compound makeup has changed. I'm not a chemist. I don't want to get into even try to get over into all of that. But when these professional folks tell me that we have a very volatile scene and that we're going to have to be extremely slow and methodical, and that's what we're going to do. So yes, ma'am. Hold on,
so there are chemicals that they're concerned with.
We can possibly we are going to possibly have some of those that we're going to have to dispose of in some way, form, or fashion. We have got it set up and arranged to where we're going to have a notice that's going to come out to you guys, as well as trying to put it out to the community if that does take place or when that takes place, and we will try to answer that.
Sheriff, have you ruled out foul play?
Again, we're in an investigative type situation.
So let me stop this right here. We'll get back to it in just a second. But just to clarify for everybody out there that's watching the Bullhorn Betty channel, it sounds like it's too dangerous for them to go get the bodies, okay? They're needing to be very methodical to make sure that there's no compounds that can explode again, or any more stuff out there that didn't detonate that could detonate. I think it's still a very active scene as far as, lethality. I think that they're walking on a minefield out there, and that they're having to be very methodical, and they know that everybody in the building's deceased, okay? But they can't go really in there and start. They're just now starting to get in there, but they have to do it very slowly because of the type of facility they're dealing with. That's what I'm getting out of this. Sorry, I had to stop it just to clarify it for you guys.
And can I say we're going to rule out foul play? We can't answer that. That might be days or weeks or months before we can do that.
Oh, they can't rule out foul play.
Before we have one shot at this, and we're going to take our time to make sure that we do the very best for our people and those victims.
So it's not ruled out, y'all. Foul play is not ruled out. Red Road, foul play's not ruled out.
Right now, like I said, our national response team, who are really the worldwide experts in all this, who are coming from all over the country, will be here this afternoon. They will begin their long, thorough investigation to determine the cause and origin of this explosion. That type of information will probably get out to you guys in the next days and weeks to come as they do their investigation and develop that.
All right, thank you, everybody.
She had
one more question.
Do you feel like there's any risk to anyone outside this facility at this point?
I do not.
Thanks, everybody. We'll update you as to when the next press conference is. We will try to make the ATF folks available, the experts, so if you have those technical questions, we'll be able to get those for you. The Humphreys County Emergency Management Agency Facebook page is the official page of notification, so if you're not following that, I would encourage you to do that. Otherwise, we'll be back when we have some more things to share, okay? Thanks.
So I'm hoping that they don't find, obviously, I'm hoping that it was a tragic accident. I don't want to think that this, we know there's evil people out there, but I don't want to think evil people are, doing this to families. And I would think that they would go with a bigger target than this, but if it was, I think we're going to ultimately find out this was a terrible accident. Somebody did something. They're dealing with a lot of different type of combustible components, like we're learning chemicals and stuff like that. They're developing new and advanced technology. So this could be one of those advancements that they mix strong and kaboom, they went. Very volatile chemicals. So, I don't, to be honest with you, the way I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing this being possibly a domestic or international terroristic type of thing. But, of course it's too early to tell one way or another. I feel we're going to find out this was a terrible accident. But at the end of the day, we can see for ourselves that that building is completely leveled. And the idea that anybody could have survived something like that when a building made of brick and steel couldn't survive is a little bit, we always want to be hopeful, but like the sheriff said, we need to be realistic here. We're expecting everybody being deceased. It appears that everybody would have been obliterated in that explosion, and I think that's what we're dealing with here. So, guys, please pray for this community, pray for this family. But that kind of rounds our story up. Again, I just went over the last tidbit of our show was Donald Trump starts massive layoffs, and the riots have turned to more of a ridiculous dance party on one side of the building, while riots are still going on the other side of the building. So it's kind of like a smoke and mirrors type of thing going on. And I had videos of the new block party going on the one side of the building. So anyways, we kind of ran out of time for this show. Thank you all for being here. Again, I'm Bullhorn Betty. If this is something that you guys enjoyed or learned something from, please don't forget to share this show around. Don't forget to hit the like button. Please consider making a comment, even in the replay, if you're the replay crew. And if you'd love to support this channel, you can do it by a variety of different ways. You can do it free of charge just by sharing and liking the show, and also hyping it if you're on the replay crew. But if you'd like to do a little bit more, there's multiple ways that you can do it. Right here on YouTube, you can help out with super chats, super stickers, and super thanks. Or if you would like to do a little bit more, you can become a member. If you don't want to do anything on YouTube and you're like, hey, Betty, I just want to help you, you can do that through Cash App, Venmo, and or PayPal. And we're happy and thank you for all your support and contributions on keeping this channel alive and well. So that's really all we have for you today. Today is Saturday. Today is Delilah's play date. It's the one day that she gets to leave the house and go and play with her friends for several hours and run all of that energy, a little puppy energy that she has out. So it is time for me to get going, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. If I have time, I will come back live later this evening to give you guys some updates. If we have another press conference on the explosion out there in Tennessee, any type of information that is from Tennessee. But I do appreciate all your time and all of your love. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon.